Welcome to the Athena Wellness Podcast, the show that invites you to take a seat around the community fire and listen to stories that inspire. I'm your host, Kathy Robinson, author, coach, and founder of Athena Wellness, a company that's dedicated to supporting you as you create your next chapter, turning life transitions into transformation. Hello and welcome, friends. Thanks so much for joining me for the shortened Wellness Wednesday episode, a little midweek boost to help keep your warrior vibe high. I mentioned in the last episode that if I could sum up the biggest lesson I've learned since leaving my long-time corporate career behind, it's this. The skills that make you successful in one chapter of your life are not the ones that you rely on as you create the next chapter of your life. And it's what's inspired this series of podcasts focused on sharing some tools you can add to your toolkit to unlock your next chapter and navigate the unfamiliar territory ahead. Last week, we talked about using discontent as a springboard to move forward. Today, we'll be talking about exploring elements of your origin story and how it's led you to where you are today. And next week, you'll learn how to rewrite parts of that story that are no longer serving you while leveraging the parts that still do. Let's begin our session today with a basic question. What is an origin story? Simply put, it's your backstory. In particular, it's the events that created your identity and your motivation for the choices that you make and the life you live. Here's an easy example. The backstory of most superheroes starts with a childhood incident that left them feeling powerless in some way. If we look at more relatable business examples, it was an early success of some sort. Warren Buffett bought his first stock at age 11 and then became fascinated by the markets. Elon Musk built and sold his own video game as a teen. And over time, we can see how desires to transform become bigger. John Mackey was working at a natural food store when he founded Whole Foods Market to create a more conscious and sustainable business model. Jeff Bezos saw the potential of online commerce in the early days of the internet, and it was this drive that led him to start Amazon. I'm not suggesting that you need to have a vision to transform the world like those in the examples that I provided. But if you look at the commonalities in their stories, you'll see a combination of factors that you'll find in your own story. Elements like drive, things that you're excited to learn about and pursue. Opportunity, times when you've recognized a new possibility. Risk-taking, how you've pursued new opportunities. Skill set, how you've assembled a unique mix of talent and experiences. Development, where you invested in keeping your skill set current. Growth, lessons learned along the way. Collaboration, those unique times when people and projects combined for success. Leadership, your ability to inspire others. Resilience, how you've learned from mistakes and persisted. And impact, your lasting legacy in making a difference. We'll talk more about your own origin story, but before we do, I'd like to say a few words about another term that will be helpful, and that is the hero's journey. The hero's journey is a familiar template for telling stories. Any story that you've heard that's memorable follows this format where the main character undergoes some sort of transformation. And isn't that what we're working with here? You were one person, your origin story, but you're inviting an adventure in the form of a new life chapter that will be different from the life as you know it today. And that's why this is such an impactful exercise. We're uncovering and remembering our inner story so we can use it as fuel to craft our new experience. How do we actually do this? It's quite simple, and no, you don't need to write your life story. Just get out a piece of paper and jot down some phrases and memories as you reflect on these 3 questions. 1. Where are you from? Focus less on the physical location, unless it's a motivating factor, and more on your generational or socioeconomic background. Think of it as a few bullet points describing your backdrop for growing up. 2. What ability or power did you have or dream of having? Perhaps you had a particular talent or would daydream about a power you wish you had at your disposal. And 3. What childhood experience set you on your path? It can be a positive experience, such as an impactful teacher or coach, or a struggle that you had to overcome. Once you have a page or so of notes, answer the same questions as you reflect on your early adult life. You can change the questions slightly so they read like this. 1. Where did you start? Think of it as a few bullet points describing that period of your life as you began new relationships and entered into the early stages of your career. How did your 20s feel? 2. What type of personal or professional life did you dream of having? Who did you look up to in those days? Did you have a mentor? Did the life of those you worked for seem attractive, something that you wanted for yourself? And 3, what growth catalysts challenged you to grow along your path? They could be positive experiences, such as getting promoted, or a struggle you had to overcome, such as working for someone you didn't respect. Over the next week, I invite you to continue to reflect on these questions and continue taking notes. In particular, look for themes. I'll give you some examples. Where have you grown by getting a deeper understanding of yourself, increasing your emotional intelligence, or felt a genuine connection with yourself or others? Here's another. When have you felt like you were on your path, feeling engaged and fulfilled by activities and connected to those you were with? And lastly, what were you doing when you felt you were making an impact? Perhaps when you created a new solution or led a team to a successful outcome of a project. Keep a running list and give it a review before we meet again next week. You'll be using this information to craft the next section of your story as you continue to unlock the next chapter of your life on the hero's journey of your choice. As we bring this episode to a close, I'd like to invite you to reflect on one more thing. At this time in your life, who inspires you and why? And I'd like you to think about that in broad terms. This list can include those who are living or have passed. They can be someone you know or someone you may never meet. They can be from the business world or, and I highly recommend this, include anyone whose life story or accomplishments resonate with you. Include artists, athletes, activists, creatives, and the everyday heroes that you meet each day. Once you have that list, begin to note what you find inspiring about them and why it's resonating for you. For example, a prominent athlete might make it onto your list, but it could be because they overcame obstacles early in life, or the way they care for their bodies, or the fact that they took a break when the toll of their stardom became too much. Another example might be a musician that you love and they made it onto your list because they found a way to express themselves in a deeply personal yet universal way, or the way their music helps you process your own emotions, or you love the fact that they're self-taught and took their own path to success. You don't have to do anything fancy here, just a little brainstorming on why these folks inspire you. We'll be working with this list next week as well. Until then, I hope you enjoy working with these questions and exercises. These sparks are leading you to unlocking your next chapter. If you're interested in exploring the themes we covered today and would like a guide for this soulful journey, please do reach out. My coaching services are listed on my website, and you're always welcome to reach out via email. I'll link that information up in the show notes. And as always, I look forward to connecting with you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you for part 3 next week. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know there are many ways you can spend your time. Thank you for choosing to spend it with me. Until our paths cross again, be kind to yourself and show your warrior spirit some love. If you know anyone who could benefit from today's episode, please pass it on. And many thanks for supporting the show by subscribing and leaving a review. It means a lot, and it helps others find their way to our circle. If you'd like to access the show notes, have a question you'd like addressed on a future episode, or would like a transcript of this episode, visit www.athenawellness.com/podcast. Until next time, be well.